The Atharvaveda, hymn 10:9, 27 verses. Binding the mouths of those that threaten mischief against my rivals, cast this bolt of thunder. Indra first gave the hundredfold oblation, welfare of him who worships, foe destroying. Thy skin shall be the altar, let thine hair become the sacred grass. This cord hath held thee firmly, let this pressing stone dance round on thee, the holy water be thy hair. Let thy tongue make thee clean, O cow. Go hundredfold oblation, made bright and adorable to heaven. He who prepares the hundredfold oblation gains each wish thereby. For all his ministering priests, contented move as fitteth them. He rises up to heaven, ascends to yonder third celestial height. Whoever gives the hundredfold oblation with the central cake, that man completely wins those worlds, both of the heavens and of the earth. Whoever pays the hundredfold oblation with its golden light, thine emulators, goddess, and the men who dress thee for the feast, all these will guard thee hundredfold oblation. Have no fear of them. The Vasus from the south will be thy guards, the Marutas from the north, Adityas from the west. Overtake and pass the Agnishtoma thou. The gods, the fathers, mortal men, Gandharvas and Apsaras, all these will be the guards. Overtake and pass the Etaratra thou. The man who pays the hundredfold oblation winneth all the worlds, air, heaven, and earth, Adityas and Marutas, and regions of the sky. Sprinkling down fatness to the gods will the beneficent goddess go. Harm not thy dresser cow. To heaven, O hundredfold oblation, speed. From all the gods enthroned in heaven, in air, from those who dwell on earth, draw forth for evermore a stream of milk, of butter, and of mead. Let thy head, let thy mouth, and let both thine ears, and those two jaws of thine, pour for the giver mingled curd, and flowing butter, milk, and mead. Let both thy lips, thy nostrils, both thy horns, and these two eyes of thine, pour for the given mingled curd and flowing butter, milk, and mead. Let heart and pericardium, let thy lungs with all thy bronchial tubes, etc. Let liver and let kidneys and let entrails and the parts within, etc. Let rectum and omentum, let thy belly's hollows and thy skin, etc. Let all thy marrow, every bone, let all thy flesh and all thy blood, etc. Let both thy shoulders and thy hump and thy forelegs and their lower parts, etc. Let neck and nape and shoulder joints, thy ribs and intercostal parts, etc. So let thy thighs and thy knee bones, thy hinder quarters and thy hips, etc. So let thy tail and all the hairs thereof, thine udder and thy teats, etc. Let all thy legs, the refuse of thy feet, thy heel ropes, and thy hooves, pour for the giver mingled curd and flowing buttermilk and mead. Let all thy skin, sata udana, let every hair thou hast, O cow, pour for the giver mingled curd and flowing butter, milk, and mead. Sprinkled with molten butter, let the two meal cakes be sport for thee. Make them thy wings, O goddess, and bear them who dresses thee to heaven. Each grain of rice and mortar are on pestle, all on the skin are in the winnowing basket. Whatever purifying Matresthan the wind hath sifted, let the Hotar Agna make of it an acceptable oblation. In the priest's hands I lay in separate order the sweet celestial waters dropping fatness, as here I sprinkle them. May all my wishes be granted unto me in perfect fullness. May we have ample wealth in our possession. Now, for the giver mingled curd and flowing butter, milk, and mead. Is that what we have with every etc.? Because that was what we have on both sides. But some of these, if you look at it, it's more fine details of things. And with idolatry, people try to connect it. People say, oh, well, we don't worship the object, we worship the spirit with the object. Well, it amounts to the same thing, doesn't it? But they connect all the levels of their mythology to it. They dress the sacred object and treat it as if it's the, entity they're worshiping it itself. Hymn 10:10:34. Worship to thee springing to life, and worship unto thee when born. Worship, O cow, to thy tail hair, and to thy hooves, and to thy form. The man who knows the seven floods, who knows the seven distances, who knows the head of sacrifice, may he receive the holy cow. I know the seven water floods. I know the seven distances. I know the head of sacrifice, and Soma shining bright in her. Hitherward we invite, with prayer, the cow who pours 1,000 streams, by whom the heaven, by whom the earth, by whom these waters are preserved. Upon her back they are 100 keepers, 100 metal bowls, 100 milkers. The deities who breathe in her all separately know the cow. Her foot is sacrifice, her milk, libation, svada, her breath, Mahiluka, the mighty. To the god who goes with prayer, the cow, who hath Parjanya for her lord. Agna hath entered into thee, Soma, O cow, hath entered thee. Thine udder is Parjanya, O blessed cow. The lightnings are thy teats. Thou pourest out the waters first, and grainlands afterwards, O cow. Thirdly, thou pourest princely sway. O cow, thou pourest food and milk. When, Holy One, thou camest nigh, invited by the Aditya's call, Indra gave thee to drink, O cow, 1,000 bowls of Soma juice. The bowl, what time thou followedst the way of Indra, summoned thee. Thence the fiend slayer, angered, took thy water and thy milk away, O cow, the milk which in his wrath the Lord of riches took from thee. That same the vault of heaven now preserveth in 3 reservoirs. The cow celestial received that Soma in 3 vessels, where Atharvan consecrated, sate upon the sacred grass of gold. Come hither with the Soma, come with every footed thing, the cow, with Kalas and with Gandharvas by her side, hath stepped upon the sea. Come hither with the wind, yea, come with every creature born on wings. Laden with holy verse and song, the cow hath leapt into the sea. Come with the sun, come hitherward with every creature that hath eyes. Bearing auspicious lights, with her the cow hath looked across the sea. When covered round about with gold, thou stoodest there, O Holy One. The ocean turned into a horse and mounted on thy back, O cow, then came and met the blessed ones, Deshtre the cow and Stabada, where Atharvan consecrated set upon the sacred grass of gold. The Kshatriya's mother is the cow. Thy mother, Stabada, is the cow. Sacrifice is the weapon of the cow. The thought arose from her. From Brahma's summit there went forth a drop that mounted up on high. From that wast thou produced, O cow. From that the Hotar sprang to life. Forth from thy mouth the Gathas came. From thy neck nape sprang strength, O cow. Sacrifice from thy flanks was born, and a rays of sunlight from thy teats, from thy forequarters and thy thighs, motion was generated, cow. Food from thine entrails was produced, and from thy belly came the plants. When into Varuna's belly thou hadst found a passage for thyself, the Brahman called thee thence, for he knew how to guide and lead thee forth. All trembled at the babe that came from him, who brings not to the birth. He hath produced her. Unless they cried, he is a cow, and born by spells he hath become skin to her. He only joineth battle, yea, he who alone controlleth her. Now sacrifices have become victories, and the cow their eye. The cow hath welcomed sacrifice. The cow hath held the sun in place. Together with the prayer, the mess of rice hath passed into the cow. They call the cow immortal life, pay homage to the cow as death. She hath become this universe. Fathers and riches hath become the gods and men and asuras. The man who hath this knowledge may receive the cow with welcoming. So for the giver willingly doth perfect sacrifice pour milk. Within the mouth of Varuna 3 tongues are glittering with light. That which shines midmost of them is this cow most difficult to hold. For parted was the cow's prolific humor. 1/4 is water, 1/4 life eternal. 1/4 is sacrifice, 1/4 are cattle. The cow is heaven, the cow is earth, the cow is Vishnu, Lord of life. The Satyas and the Vasus have drunk the outpourings of the cow. When these Satyas and the Vasus have drunk the outpourings of the cow, they in the Bright One's dwelling place pay adoration to her milk. 4. Soma, some have milked her. Some worship the fatness she hath poured. They who have given a cow to him, and who hath knowledge, hath gone up to the 3rd region of the sky. He who hath given a cow unto the Brahmins winneth all the worlds, for right is firmly set in her devotion, and religious zeal. Both gods and mortal men depend for life and being on the cow. She hath become this universe. All that the sun surveys is she. It was used to saying the cow, so all that the sun surveys is she. And just like the other one, back to 10.7, verse 8, the universe which Prajapati created, wearing all forms, the highest and most lowest. How far did Skamba penetrate within it? What portion did he leave unpenetrated? How far within the past have Skamba entered? How much of him hath reached into the future? That one part which he set in 1,000 places, how far did Skamba penetrate within it? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, in whom men recognize the waters, Brahma, in whom they know the worlds as their enclosures, and whom are non-existence and existence? Declare that Skamba, who is he of many, in whom exerting every power, fervor, maintains her loftiest vow, in whom are comprehended law, waters, devotion, and belief. So notice what I mean. You know what I mean by relating it to that, right? Is that we are we're referring to something. And it's not these things themselves. They're all the tools. Just like in the Bible, they talk about, the person they call St. Paul talks about somebody being caught up into the third heaven. Well, if you summarize the chakras into the third, you get the social liberation. What's part of the pilgrimage, marriage, all that sort of stuff. And sacrifice is key to that. The milk, well, the children are fed with the milk of the woman. So again, relating to the cow, and some people, it's like, they use the term cow as an insult. In some cultures, you wouldn't do that. It's like, my woman's my cow. We call a woman a cow. It's a compliment, not an insult. And a lot of these goddess myths or whatever you call, they have the cow shaped weird, but it's to resemble the womb and the ovaries and all that.